Hi, this is Granny B of Granny B Crochets, and this is our third installment of the Halloween Hotpads. This is the jack-o'-lantern, and obviously, because the jack-o'-lantern is made out of a pumpkin, if you can use this same pattern to just make a pumpkin. So this is what I do. I love to decorate with jack-o'-lanterns at Halloween because then when Halloween is over, you just turn them around, or in this case, turn them over, and you have a pumpkin. So that's why I have a leaf on both sides of mine. It makes it a little lumpy right here, but trust me, when you put the pot on it, it's not going anywhere. So for this pattern, we are going to need 100% cotton yarn, again, a number 4 weight. I'm using orange, green, black. I love this cotton again. I'm not affiliated with Hobby Lobby. I just like this cotton. It's a little more expensive, but it's soft and I find it a little easier to work with is the only reason I like it better. But any 100% cotton will work as long as you have the colors you need. And then I used some black for the eyes, nose and mouth on that pumpkin. Of course, we're going to need a crochet hook. I am using the 5.5 millimeter hook because that's the one that for me makes my circle lay flat. So if you're crocheting along and your circle is not laying flat like this, then you need to change your hook size. If it's turning into a bowl, you need a bigger hook. If it's all wavy, you need a smaller hook. But an eye hook, which is what the yarn calls for, is what gives me a nice flat circle. So and then of course you're going to need a yarn needle and some scissors. So you can start the center with a magic circle, or you can start your center with the chain 2. It's up to you. I used a magic circle on this one, but if you want to use the chain 2 method, I have videos on that. It just gives a tighter center. I usually do my magic circle a little smoother. All right, there we go. Then I just do chain 1, and you're going to start by putting 12 double crochets inside your circle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And when I get to the 11th one, no matter which method I'm using, even if I'm using the chain 2 method, I pull it up tight. And if you're using the chain 2 method, your knot is right there. And I always put my last double crochet on the other side of the knot. So since I'm using a magic ring, it doesn't really matter, but that's what I do for the chain 2 method. So you've got your 12 double crochets, count them to be sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, because if you don't start out with 12, the whole thing doesn't work towards the end. We're just going to slip stitch these together. And we're going to chain 1, and we're ready for round 2. So everybody has a different method. This is my favorite one. I find that I don't have any gaps, and my seam, the little joining seam, which I do create, is very small and minimal. It doesn't really scream out, hey, I'm here, and it's also straight. It doesn't end up going to an angle. So what you're going to do for row 2, and if you're making a circle, just to let you know, they all work out exactly the same. The difference is how many stitches you start with. So if you're making single crochets, you start with 6. Half doubles, you start with 8. A double, you start with 12. After that, every round is basically the same directions, just depends on, you know, you just make that stitch. So for round 2, you're going to do 2 stitches in each stitch of round 1. So that means we're going to do 2 double crochets in this very first joining stitch. And then we're going to do 2 double crochets in each stitch going all the way around. Now, something I forgot to mention, if you do not like to count, you might want to get yourself about a dozen stitch markers, and I'll explain to you why here in a minute. I don't mind counting. And this circle is only going to about 6 rounds. And so I will usually just count the 6 rounds because I don't mind counting. But if you hate to count, or if you're going to make a really big circle, because personally, although I don't mind counting, once I get to about the 10th row, I find it a little easy to lose track of my count. And so I will use stitch markers myself if I'm making a really large circle. And I do make some large circles for centerpieces for your table. My daughter has a giant Lazy Susan, and I have made quite a few for her, and we are going to have some of those patterns coming up. But in the meantime, you have to learn how to make a circle. So now I do something else differently from most people when I make my circle. I'm almost to the end. Okay, so that was 20, 21, 22. Okay, now I have what almost looks like 2 stitches left. I have the actual last stitch, and then I have my little joining slip stitch right here, which creates kind of a little bit of a hole. So this is what I do to close up that gap. First, I go ahead and I make the first double crochet. Now, when you put 2 stitches into 1 stitch, that's called an increase. So every time we did 2 double crochets into 1 stitch, we were doing an increase. But for this increase, we do the first stitch of the increase. And then when we do the second one, we're going to do the 2 stitches. We're going to put 2 stitches together. So here's how you do that. You wrap your yarn around, go in the same space as the stitch you just made, pull up a loop, wrap it around, and go through 2. And now you wrap your yarn around, and you're going to go in the space that the slip stitch join created and pull up a loop, wrap it around, and pull through 2. Now you have 3 loops on your hook. You're going to wrap it around and go through all 3. So although we have 2 stitches down here, we only have 1. Get that to show you to you. We only have 1 V on top to represent them, so it's still just 24 stitches around. But that gives you a little extra stitch right here that kind of keeps that from becoming a gap. And you're going to slip stitch into the first stitch, and round 2 is done. So at this point, I usually stop and I weave in my little strand in the center, just so I can get it out of the way. So I'm going to pause the video for a minute and let's weave that end in, and then we'll meet back for round 3. Okay. So I've shown this before in my weaving in the ends video, but I thread my yarn needle. And I start by first going through the stitches that are in the same direction the thread was already going. I do that and I cinch it up as tight as it will go. And then I skip 1 strand and then I weave it back the other direction and pull that up tight as well. If your stitches are kind of loose with the pattern you're using, feel free to weave it in more than that. That with the cotton yarn, for me, the cotton is very, clingy, and just my stitches are tight, so that's usually enough to keep that from unraveling. But just whatever makes you feel comfortable. Okay, so now we're on to round 3 of the circle. So we're going to chain 1, and this is how you're making a circle. So for round 3, we want 1 double crochet, and we're going to put it right back in the joining stitch. And then we need 1 increase. In this case, it's going to be 2 double crochets in the next stitch. 1, 2. Okay, and then we do 1 double crochet, and then 1 increase. 1, 2. Okay, if we're going to do that all the way around. 1 double crochet and 1 increase. 1 double crochet and 1 increase. All right, let's continue in that pattern all the way around till we get to the other side when we're ready to do our last increase right here, and I'll meet you there. Okay, I'm all the way around, and I have my last stitch, and I have my joining spot, and we're going to do an increase. So I'm doing 1 double crochet, and then I'm double crocheting 2 together. So you wrap the yarn around, put it in the same stitch, yarn over, go through 2 loops, yarn over, go into the joining spot, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through 2 loops, and then yarn over, go through all 3 loops. And then we're going to slip stitch to the first one, and there's round 3. So from this point forward, you're just going to do 1 more double crochet on its own than you did the row before. So I did 1 double crochet on its own and then an increase on this row. So the next row is going to be 2 double crochets on their own and then an increase. So chain 1, 1 double crochet back in the same stitch that I joined in, and then a second one, and then I'm going to do an increase. Now, if you do not like to count, this is where you're going to add your stitch marker. So we've done our increase, and what you would do is you're going to put your stitch marker in the top of that second stitch of your increase, because basically, if you don't like to count, and you could really pay attention, but I'm the first one to tell you I can't, you're going to put all your increases in the increase of the row below it. But that's really hard to keep track of. They kind of blend in. So if you put a stitch marker on the top of the second double crochet of that increase, it shows you where to put the next increase, and you can do it all the way around. And then when you're crocheting around and you get to the stitch marker, you know that's where you put 2 stitches. And you can move your stitch marker up to the second stitch of that increase and continue on around. If you count, you can count 2 ways. You can count 1 and 2, and then I say increase. And then you can go 1 and 2, and increase. And so on, and we're going to do that all the way around till we get back to that last stitch that we need to put an increase in. So I will meet you back here. Okay, here we are back at the end. Well, I put them in the same space. Okay, so we're going to do, I need one more double crochet by itself. And then we have our last stitch where the increase goes and our join. So double crochet 2 together, yarn over, go through the joining space and through all 3 and slip stitch together. Okay, that is round 4. If you are making the small pumpkin, this is all the rounds you need. You're going to fast forward to the spot where you see the whiteboard that says small pumpkin, and I will at that point explain how to finish the small pumpkin. Right now we're going to make the medium pumpkin, and so for that we're going to continue on forward from where we are here. So to make the medium pumpkin, you need 2 more rounds. So you're going to chain 1, and now because we did 1 double crochet and an increase, and then we did 2 double crochets and an increase, now we're going to do 3 double crochets and an increase. So 1, 2, 3. Now if you used the stitch markers and put 1 in the second stitch of every increase around, this would land you at the stitch marker. You would do your increase in that stitch. So we're going to do 2 double crochets in that stitch. Then you would remove your stitch marker. You would put it in the last stitch you made and continue on around. That's if you use stitch markers. If you're counting like me, we're going to count to 3 and then do an increase. 1, 2, Pepe, 3. My grandson's headed out to school, and Pepe's upset. And then an increase. Okay, and we're going to continue this all the way around, and we'll meet back at the other end. Okay, I've made it around to the end. I have my last stitch, so I'm going to do an increase. And double crochet 2 together and slip stitch in the first stitch. Okay, so there is a definite pattern going on here. And what it is that the number of stitches by themselves before the increase is 2 less than whatever number round you're on. So we were on round 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2 less from 5 is 3, and we were doing 3 double crochets between each increase. So now for row 6, 2 less than 6 is 4. We will be doing 4 individual double crochets before the increase. Row 7 will have 5. Row 8 will have 6. So we're going to do 1 more round for the medium pumpkin. We're going to do 4 double crochets by themselves and 1 increase all the way around, and then we're going to meet down here at this end. So chain 1. I'm going to double crochet into the same stitch. 1, 2. Now I'm going to show you something I do. It's a little weird way of counting. So if this confuses you, you don't have to do it. 3, 4. Now remember, I've just done 5 stitches, and stitch number 5 goes into the increase. If you can remember that, then the next stitch goes in the same spot, which would be stitch number 6, and we're on the 6th row. I'll show you that again. I count it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the number of rows I've got completed. And so that's the one I do the increase in, making that stitch number 6 on the 6th row. Because these are like little tiny wedges. Each stitch that you started with turns into a little tiny wedge. And the number of stitches in each row of the wedge is whatever row you're on. So the second round of the wedge had 2 stitches in it. The third round of the wedge had a total of 3, 1 by itself and 2 for the increase. 1, 2 in the increase, we have 4 in the 4th round, 5 and 6, and so on. So that's another way you can count it. Whatever's working easiest for you. You can use the stitch marker in the increase. You can count the stitches between. You can count the stitches total. Whatever works best in your mind. So we're going to do one more round, and then we'll be ready to shape this into a pumpkin for the medium pumpkin. If you are making the large pumpkin, then you're going to need to do a total of 8 rounds. So when you finish this round, you're going to do round number 7. It will have 5 double crochets and the increase, 5 double crochets in the increase. And then round number 8 will have 6 double crochets in the increase. So finish up this round, or 2 more if you're making the large one, and then meet me back here. If you're doing the medium, meet me back here and we will show you the stitches to do the medium pumpkin. If you're doing the large, put on 2 more rows and fast forward to the white placard that says large pumpkin and join me there to finish the large pumpkin. All right, we'll meet you back here at this end. Okay, I'm back, and we are ready to now start shaping our pumpkin. We don't need this anymore because we're going to work over that here in a second. Okay, so first we're going to chain 1. Then we're going to single crochet in the first 2 stitches. And 2. Okay. Then we're going to do 1 half double crochet. Then we're going to do a double crochet in each of the next 2 stitches. 2. Okay, and then we're going to put 2 double crochets in the next stitch. Okay, if you are using stitch markers, then you're going to continue on till you've passed 4 stitch markers. If you're counting with me, then what we're going to do is we are going to do 5 double crochets, 1 in each of the next 5 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then this is where our increase goes, so 2 double crochets in that stitch. Okay, and we need to do that 3 more times, so 4 times total. Okay, we have done 4 increases now. So we are at the other side of the pumpkin. So we're going to do 2 double crochets, 1 in each of the next 2 stitches. 1, 2. Then we're going to do a half double crochet, 5 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a half double crochet, and 2 double crochets. And then now we are at the next increase, so we need to do 2 double crochets in that stitch. Now the top of our pumpkin is getting shaped. So again, we're going to do just like we did the other side. 5 double crochets, 1 in each of the next 5 stitches, and then an increase. And we're going to do that 4 times. So I'm going to pause the video and I'll meet you after the 4th increase. Okay, that's the 4th increase. So we're back at the bottom of the pumpkin now. We're going to do 1 double crochet in the next 2 stitches. 2, a half double crochet, and then 3 single crochets. 1, 2, and 3, and slip stitch those together. Okay, and now the last round of the medium pumpkin, we're going to chain 1. We're going to slip stitch in the first 2 stitches. 1, 2. Then we're going to single crochet, and then we're going to half double crochet. Then we're going to do 1 double crochet in the next 2 stitches. 2, and 2 double crochets because we are at our increase. Okay, because we are on round 8, we're going to be doing 6 double crochets, 1 in each of the next 6 stitches, and then an increase, and we're going to do that 4 times. So I'll meet you at the other end after the 4th increase. Okay, I've just finished my 4th increase. You're going to need a stitch marker. It just makes it easier when you go to put the stem on. We're going to do 2 double crochets, 1 in each of the next 2 stitches. Then we're going to do a half double, and then we're going to do a single crochet. Then put your stitch marker in the single crochet. We're going to slip stitch 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're going to do a single crochet, a half double crochet, and 2 double crochets. 1, 2. We're back at the increase spot, so we're going to do an increase right there. And then just like the other side, we're going to do 6 double crochets and an increase 4 times. So let's do that and I'll meet you at the other end. Okay, I am here. As you see, it looks like I'm playing a game of yarn chicken. I'm pretty sure I'm going to lose, but we'll keep going. So finish off that was my 4th increase. Then we're going to do 2 double crochets. 1, 2, a half double crochet. I might make it. A single crochet. 2 slip stitches. Look at that. I'm going to win a game at Yarn Chicken. Then slip stitch into the first stitch. Yarn over, and I'm just pulling mine through because I'm done. And look, I didn't have to add any more yarn. That's always fun to win at Yarn Chicken. All right, there's the basic pumpkin. And now we're going to add the stem. So I need some brown. There we go. Okay. Okay, so we're going to attach the brown where we put our stitch marker here at the top of the pumpkin. With a chain 1. And then we're going to single crochet into the same stitch. Then we're going to make a half double crochet into the next stitch. Then we're going to double crochet 4. Okay, I'm sorry. I have led you astray. You actually want to start your yarn in the half double crochet. So the stitch right before the single crochet, or where you had your marker. Okay. With a chain 1. And then we're going to single crochet into that same stitch, half double crochet into the next stitch, then double crochet into the next 4. 1. Those slip stitches are a little hard to get into. 2. 3. 4. Then a half double crochet and a single crochet. Chain 1 and turn. Round 2, we're going to double crochet 2 together. So yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go into the next stitch, pull up, go through 2, then go through all 3. Then we're going to double crochet into the next 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4. I apologize if this brown is hard to see in the video. Then we're going to double crochet the next 2 stitches together as well. Yarn over and go into the last stitch, pull up a loop, and through all 3. Chain 1 and turn. And this is the last row, and we're going to do double crochet 2 together. 1, double crochet in each of the next 2 stitches, and then double crochet 2 together, and there's our stem. Cut your thread and fasten off. I own about a dozen pair of scissors for crocheting, and all I could find were some paper scissors when I went to make the video, because that's just kind of the way it typically goes. All right, there's our stem, and at this point I'm going to weave in my brown yarns just because I want them out of the way when I add my stem. Okay, and now we are ready for the leaf. If you don't want to make a leaf, you can leave it plain like this for your jack-o'-lantern, or you can make a vine. And if you want to make a vine, I'm going to demonstrate that at the end of the video, because I'm going to put one on my smaller pumpkin when I do it. So if you want to make the vine, fast forward to the small pumpkin, and it's at the end of making the small pumpkin. So we're going to take the green for the leaf, make a slip knot. That one a bit longer. I like a long tail to weave in. Make a slip knot, and we're going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I'm just going to slip stitch into the bottom of my stem, like so, to attach the leaf. Okay, we're going to skip the slip stitch, and we're going to put a slip stitch into the next 2 chains after that. So there'll be a slip stitch in this chain and a slip stitch in this chain. All right, now we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3, and in the same chain we're going to work 5 trebles. 1. That's a treble. You wrap the yarn around twice if you've forgotten how to make those. Then you go through 2 and go through 2 and go through 2. So that's 2. Go through 2, go through 2. That's 3. 4. And yes, it's making a big hole, but don't worry, when we go back down the other side, we will be tightening that up. 4 and 5. Okay. Now we're going to do 3 trebles in this chain, in the next chain. 1, 2, 3, and we're going to go do 3 trebles in the next chain. I know it's making these ones on the end kind of tight. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now we're on the last chain. So we're going to do 3 trebles in the chain. 1, 2, and 3. Now we want to give our leaf just a little bit of a point. So we're going to do just a 2 chain picot. And all you do is you're going to chain 1, chain 2, stick your hook back inside the top of that stitch in the little bar on the edge of the stitch. Pull a loop through and through the one on your hook. That just gives it the leaf a bit of a point. Now we're going to kind of pull this tight, and we're going to be working on the other side of the knot and down the other side of the chain. So 2 more treble crochets in that same chain at the end of your leaf there. So there's 1. Try this again. Okay. There's 1 and 2. So that makes a total of 5 trebles in that very last chain spot. Then we're going to do 3 trebles in each of the next 2 chains. 1, 2, 3. Then we want to go to the next chain. 1, 2, 3. And then now we're to the very first chain we worked into. We're going to do 5 triple crochets in that one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then slip stitch into that same space and fasten off. Now, if you don't like working with your leaf attached to the stem like I did, you can work it separately and just make this an extra long tail and use it to sew the leaf in place if you want. Fasten off and pull it through. Okay. And then what I do is I take these tails and I'm going to pull them through to the other side. So position my leaf where I want it to be on my pumpkin. And then I'm going to reach through with my crochet hook like this. Wrap that tail around it and just pull it through to the other side. And then down here where the other end is, I'm going to do the same thing. Grab it, pull it through to the other side. And then I'll weave them in on the back side, and that keeps your leaf flat and kind of out of the way of your face when the time comes. Otherwise it flops around a bit, but you can let it flop around at your leaf. Do whatever you want with it. All right, so there is the large pumpkin. I'm going to pause for a minute to weave in my ends, and then we'll come back and finish it off. Okay, I'm back. Now we need some features for our little pumpkin here. And you can use black like I did on this guy. But I thought it might be fun to have him glowing, so I got some yellow yarn. And I'm going to put yellow features on this pumpkin. Okay. So we're going to start by chaining 7. And you need these are the eyes and the nose, so you need to make 3 of these total. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You're going to put 1 single crochet in each chain, starting with the second chain from the hook. 1, 2, I can get that. 3, 4, 5, 6. Chain 1 and turn. Now we're going to single crochet 2 together. So you put your hook in the first stitch, pull up a loop, put it in the second stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over and go through all 3 loops. Then we're going to do a single crochet, 1, in the next 2 stitches, 2, and then we're going to single crochet the next 2 together. So pull up a loop, and then get into this last one. It's always the hardest. Try to get under 2 loops, pull up a loop, and go through all 3. Chain 1 and turn. Now we're going to just single crochet 2 together twice. So pull up a loop, and then we pull up a loop and pull up a loop. We're going to chain 1 and turn, and then single crochet 2 together one more time, and then fasten off. Leave a long tail for sewing. Yarn over, pull it through the end, and we're done. Okay, so there's 1. We need 2 more. So I'm going to pause while we make 2 more, and I'll meet you back here. Okay, I have those 3 triangles done. Now we need to do the mouth. Okay, we're working on the mouth. We're going to start by doing a chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm at 16, not 6, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. Starting in the second chain from the hook, we're going to work a single crochet, a half double in the next stitch, and a double crochet in the next stitch. Okay, then we're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and we're going to slip stitch back into the same spot right here, just like that. Okay, now we're going to slip stitch into the next 4 chains. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, we're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and we're going to double crochet in that same stitch we just slip stitched into. Then we're going to double crochet in the next 2 stitches. 1 and 2. And then we're going to chain 2 and slip stitch back into the same chain we just put that double crochet in. Now we're going to slip stitch in the next 4 chains. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, we're going to chain 2. We're going to double crochet in the same stitch, half double crochet in the next stitch, single crochet in the last stitch. Okay. Now we're going to work along the other side of the chain. So pull your knot kind of tight. You're going to flip it over. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to slip stitch in the first 4 stitches. So we're going to slip stitch behind the single crochet, and then behind the half double, and then behind the double. That's 3. And then we're going to slip stitch into the next chain. You can get 2 strands, try. Just makes it a little firmer. Okay. Now we're going to chain 2, double crochet in that same space. 1, double crochet in the next 2. 1 and 2. Hey, be nice. Chain 2, slip stitch back into the same chain. Then we're going to slip stitch 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Chain 2, double crochet in that same stitch, double crochet in the next 2 stitches, 2, chain 2, single crochet back into that, and then slip stitch in the next 3. 1, 2, and 3, and fasten off with a long chain for sewing, long tail for sewing. Okay, there you go. Now we have all our features finished. We need to sew them on. It's supposed to be kind of a scraggly toothed mouth. You can weave that in, this in, or just run it along behind him. So you want to place this middle tooth. It's not really the tooth, it's the open part. You want to place this middle tooth right here. This in the center. And hold it down with a yarn needle or a stitch marker, and then you sew it in place, and then you're going to put one triangle above it for the nose, and then one triangle on each side for the eyes. You might have to tuck it up under the leaf. That's okay. All right, so let's sew our facial features on, and we'll meet back here. So I wove my tail back behind. I've got it in place, and I just whip stitch it on. You can whip stitch it on where you just come around and you grab a little thread, and then you go through the stitches like that, and just work that all the way around the mouth till you get to the other side, and I do the same thing with the eyes. Okay, so see, and that's all you do. Okay, I'm back, and all of my parts are sewn on. If you don't want the leaf to cover the eyeball, you can tack it in place at a later date, or because as you see on this one, I tacked it up a little higher. That's up to you. So now it's time to put it together. Let Pepe and I cut in here real quick for a note. After you get the face done, you need to crochet a second pumpkin for the back of your Hotpad. And then let's continue from there. And you're going to need some brown and some orange. So for the brown, all we're going to do to put this together is single crochet it together. Here's my other piece. Okay, so you take your two pieces, the back, which does not have the face on it, and the front, which does, and you line them up wrong sides together, and we're just going to single crochet this all together. So I usually do the brown first and get the stem out of the way. Oops. So you just attach the yarn at the bottom, and then I just stick my strand inside. Just go along the edge, put one single crochet where you attach the yarn, and then just go along the edge through both pieces, and just single crochet wherever you can find a spot. When you get to the corner, do a couple of single crochets to get around the corner. And we're going to go across the top. Three. Extra one over here to get around the corner. I like to pick up at least 2 threads when I'm doing this, but sometimes it fights me. If that's the case, just pick up 1 thread on the edge. Okay. And then slip stitch down into where it meets the orange. Fasten off. through and pull it to the inside as well. Okay, now we're going to attach our orange right next to where we left off with the brown. And you're just going to put one single crochet in each stitch going all the way around. And it's really easy because we've done this in a circle. The stitches should match up because you have the same amount of stitches on both pieces. So we do a single crochet in the same stitch we attached, and then one single crochet in each stitch all the way around the pumpkin till you get to the other side. You fasten it off, weave in the ends back inside the pumpkin, and you're done. Okay, so if you were making the medium-sized pumpkin, when you get done crocheting around the edge, you're finished. You have a jack-o'-lantern on the front and a pumpkin on the back, so you're ready for Halloween and Thanksgiving. If you want to make the other two sizes, then I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to go ahead and finish my pumpkin, and then I will be back with you, and we will do the small pumpkin with the vine, and then I'll also show you how to do a large pumpkin, so you have some different sizes, which is really fun if you're doing these for Thanksgiving, to have some different size pumpkins on the table. All right, well, if this was where all you were gonna do, thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you later. For the rest of you who want to learn how to do other sizes, let's continue on. Okay, so now we're going to make the small pumpkin. So I did the first 4 rounds of the pumpkin. We're going to chain 1. Okay, so we're going to chain 1, and then we're going to make a single crochet in the same stitch. Then we're going to do a half double crochet in the next stitch, and then a double crochet in the third stitch, and then we're going to do the increase and 2. Okay, now if you have your stitch markers, we're going to go past 4 stitch markers. If you're counting, we're going to make 2 double crochets. 1, 2, 3 double crochets. We're on the 5th row. So 3 double crochets and an increase, and we're going to do this 4 times. So 1 double crochet in the next 3 stitches, and then an increase. Okay, do that 3 more times, and then I'll meet you there. Okay, so that's my 4th increase, and then this end we're going to 1 double crochet, 1 half double crochet, 2 single crochets, 1 half double crochet, and 1 double crochet, and that puts us back to an increase spot. And so we do an increase, if you When you're making these pumpkins, if you are using stitch markers rather than counting, you'll notice that we're dropping an increase at each end of the pumpkin when we get to this part. Okay, so again, we need to do 4 increases. So it's 3 double crochets and an increase 4 times. I'll meet you at the end of that. Okay, so here we are at the other end. We're going to do a half double crochet. We're going to do a full double crochet. So we did our increase. We're going to do a full double crochet, a half double crochet, and a single crochet, and another single crochet. And then we're going to put that together. Okay. There's your bottom, and there's your top. It's upside down. This is the top. That's the bottom. Okay. So now we're going to chain 1. We're going to slip stitch in the same spot. Then we're going to do a single crochet, a half double, and a double. Then we're at the increase point, so we'll do an increase. Okay, and then we're going to be we're on round 6, so we'll be doing 4 double crochets and then an increase. Or if you have stitch markers in, 4 increases. Be quiet. Sorry. So 4 double crochets and an increase 4 times. We'll meet back there. Okay, here we are at the top. We're going to do a double crochet, a half double, a single. Now you're going to put your stitch marker here. If you followed me along on the medium pumpkin and I put the stitch marker in the single crochet and then we later realized I should have put it in half double crochet, I really mean it this time. It goes in the single crochet. Okay, then we're going to slip stitch 2, double single crochet, half double, double crochet, and then we're back at the increase, so we're going to do 2 double crochets in the top of the increase. Okay, now we're going to continue just like we did the first side. We're going to do 4 double crochets and then an increase 4 times. So we'll do those and I'll meet you at the other end. All right, I did my 4th increase, and then we will do a double crochet, a half double, a single crochet, and a slip stitch. And then we slip stitch the 2 together. Okay. And there, that part of the pumpkin is finished. So we're going to fasten off, and then we're going to, you can weave in your ends if you want, and then we're going to meet back up here at the stitch marker with the brown to do the stem. Okay, I'm back up here at the top. And because this is a smaller pumpkin, we're going to give it a smaller stem. So we're going to insert your hook at the single crochet, pull up your yarn and attach it with a chain, Drop your tail. Pull that tight. All right, we're going to do a single crochet in that stitch. Then you're going to do a half double crochet in the next 2 stitches. And then a single crochet in the next stitch. Then chain 2. Just work a double crochet in each stitch. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Chain 1, and then just to give this, you can make it, you can fasten off right there and pull your yarn through. Or if you want to make a longer stem, you could do another row, whatever, you know, add a little variety to the stems to your different sizes. That's fine too. All right, so there's the main pumpkin. Now we need a vine. So for the vine, we're going to use the green, but you could also use the brown. And also if you could use green for the stem if you don't want to buy 3 colors. And the vine is really easy. So leave a decent sized tail because we're going to use that for attaching it to the pumpkin. And you want to chain about 26 stitches, 25, somewhere in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I'm going to go with 20. We'll just make this a short stem. You can make the vine as short or as long as you want. 21. Because all you're going to do is you do want a fairly long chain because it's going to shrink up quite a bit. So 20 to 25 chains. And then you're just going to do 3 single crochets starting in the second chain from the hook, all into the same chain. So 1, 2, 3. And then do 3 single crochets in the next chain. 1, 2, 3, and then 3 single crochets. And you do this all the way up the length of the chain to your back to your first chain and your slip stitch. Okay? And it's going to curl up. See how mine's already starting to curl up a little bit? And it does pull that one chain out of whack, but as you add the stitches, they kind of tighten itself back up again. So don't stress out about that too much. And it's going to make just a little curly Q thing going on here. Three. Okay, and let's do this all the way to the top, and I'll meet you there. Okay, I'm at the end, back at the beginning of the chain. And just cut, I found some yarns of this, cut us along, kind of a long tail, but not super long, because it's not like we're sewing this on. Chain 1 and pull through. Pull your ends tight. And then you take your pumpkin, and with your crochet hook, go up through one of the center, up next to one of the center stitches, and pull the end through, and go up through the other side of one of the center stitches. Wrap it around and pull the end through like that. You're gonna, one reason I usually weave in my ends because I keep them out of the way, but I'm gonna do that later because, so, and then just go ahead and tie it in a knot on the back. And there you go. You have a little curly vine on your pumpkin. So this was 20 stitches for this vine. So fewer stitches are going to get you a shorter vine. Obviously, if I'd gone the 26 like I started with, it would have been really long. So I'm glad I shortened it to 20. If you want to tack this down over on the side, you can just take a piece of orange, go in, grab a stitch, come back out, tie it in a knot, and it'll keep your vine over off to the side. To do the face, just drop down to a 4.5 millimeter or even a 4.0 millimeter hook, a much smaller one, and just do the same stitches as the face for the medium-sized pumpkin. It just will make them smaller and tighter, so it will fit on your pumpkin a little better. There's the small pumpkin and vine ready to go. If you're going to make this a hot pad, you make 2, crochet around it just like you did the medium-sized one, and you'll have a small one ready to go. Okay, now next we're going to work on the large one. Okay, we're back, and now we're making the large pumpkin. So I have done 8 rounds of the circle. So row 6 was 5 double crochets and an increase. Row 7 was, row 6 was 4 double crochets and an increase. Row 7 was 5 double crochets and an increase. Row 8 was 6 double crochets and an increase. And we are now on round 9 for the large pumpkin. And if for some reason you wanted to go even bigger, basically what I'm doing is I'm skipping the increases that are at the join and the increases that are directly across from the join. And I'm working in between the other 2 increased stitches to go down to a smaller stitch and meeting here. And on this side, I'm going down to a smaller stitch and going across and back up to the bigger stitch at the other side of the increase. That's basically what I'm doing here. For some reason, you wanted to go so grand that it was big enough to fit your table. You might want to do 3 rows of that. But anyways, here we are. We are on the large pumpkin. I have done 8 rounds. So we're on round 9. Chain 1. I'm a single crochet in the first 2 stitches. 1, 2. Then I'm going to do a half double crochet in the next 2 stitches. And then a double crochet in the next 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So now we're going to get started on round 9. So we chain 1, single crochet in the first 2 stitches, then half double in the next 2 stitches, and double crochet 1 in the next 3 stitches, 2 and 3. Okay, and that puts us at the increase, so we're going to do our increase right here. Okay. Unravel my yarn here. Okay, so now since we are on round 9, and 9 minus 2 is 7, we're going to do 7 double crochets and an increase 4 times. So 7 double crochets, 1 in each of the next 7 stitches, and then an increase, and we're going to do it 4 times, and I'll meet you over at this side. Okay, I've done 4 of those now. So we're across from our joining seam. And now we're going to do 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 2 half double crochets. 1, 2, and then we're going to do 5 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then a single crochet. A half double crochet. We're going to do 2 of those. And 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. And that gets us to the increase stitch. So we'll do an increase. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing we did on the first side. We're going to double crochet 7 and do an increase 4 times. And that'll put us over here, and I'll meet you over there. Okay, so I just did my 4th set of 7 double crochets and an increase. So I'm at the last little section before the join. So we're going to do 3 double crochets, 1 in each of the next 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3, then 2 half doubles. 1, 2, and then 3 single crochets. 1, 2, and 3, and slip stitch to join. There we go. All right, round 9 has been completed. So now we're going to move on to round 10. We're going to chain 1, and we're going to slip stitch in the first 2 stitches. 1 and 2. Then we're going to single crochet in the next stitch, then half double in the next 2, and then double crochet in the next 3. Which has got us to our increase stitch. So we're going to put an increase right there. Okay, this is round 10. So for round 10, we're going to do 8 individual double crochets and an increase 4 times. So that's 8 double crochets, increase 4 times. So I'll meet you after the 4th one. Okay, that's my 4th increase. So now we're going to work across from the join. We're going to do 3 double crochets, 1 in each of the next 3 stitches. So that's 1, 2, 3 double crochets, 2 half doubles, 1, 2. We're going to do a single crochet, and then take your stitch marker, put it in there to mark the spot. Now you can see why I got confused on the medium one, because it's the only one that goes in the half double crochet. The others I put them all in the single crochet. Otherwise the stem's too fat in my opinion. Okay, now we're going to slip stitch in the next 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 single crochet, half double in the next 2, 1, 2, double crochet in the next 3, 1, 2, 3. I'm sorry. It's only 4 slip stitches. Let me make sure I didn't count this right. Okay, so here's the double. 1, 2, 3, 3 doubles, 2 halves, 1 single. Yeah, it's only 4 slip stitches. I apologize. It's one more than the single crochets of the row above. So my bad. Okay, so there's your single crochet. 4 slip stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, single crochet, and 2 half doubles, and then 3 doubles, and then we're at the increase spot and we do an increase. Okay, now just like this side, we're going to do 8 double crochets and an increase 4 times. I'll meet you back here. Okay, there's my 4th increase. So now we're at the very end here. We're going to do 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 2 half doubles, 1, 2, a single, and 2 slip stitches. 1 and 2, and then we're going to join it to the first slip stitch over here. Like so. And there we go. So fasten that off. Weave in your ends if you want to. Grab your brown, and we're going to meet you up at this end. Just a side note. I keep saying weave in your ends if you want to. And I'm talking about some of these on the edges. This one in the center, you do need to weave it in. Whether you used a magic circle or the chain 2 method, it's going to pull out if you don't secure it. So take your needle and run it through one direction, then skip a strand and go back the other way for several stitches. I usually go about halfway back around, like so. That'll keep that from coming apart in the middle. So you do have to weave that end in. Otherwise, the center will start stretching out and you'll lose your stitches. But the others, it's up to you. You can just stick them inside because you're crocheting the whole thing together. Unless, of course, you're making a dishcloth and you have to weave into your ends then too. And this would make cute dishcloth. Matter of fact, if you made the leaf with scrubby yarn, you'd have a dishcloth with a little scrubby on it. Just an idea. Anyhow, we're going to get our brown. And we're going to attach it at that single crochet. With a chain 1. We're going to single crochet in the same stitch. Then we're going to do a half double in those 4 slip stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then do a single crochet in the next stitch. Chain 2 and turn. Do a double crochet all the way across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Chain 1, double crochet 2 together, then I'll throw 3, double crochet the next 2 stitches, and then double crochet 2 together at the other end. And there you go. There's your stem. Like I said, you can make the stems in different sizes. So you can make a really fat stem by starting in the half double crochets. Or you can make a skinnier stem by maybe after the first row, decrease 1 on each end. So double crochet 2 together on each end and then do a row even. Make it a skinnier stem. It's up to you. Just, if you're making a lot of pumpkins and want them to be a little bit different. So then this works just the same as the medium one. You make another one just like it. Add your curlicues or your leaf to the pumpkin. Crochet all the way around and you're done. Well, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy your Halloween, Thanksgiving, jack-o'-lantern pumpkins. And have fun decorating your table. Make them as big as you need for, what your pots and pans look like and your dishes look like, so make them to fit. And I will talk to you later. Bye.